Happy New Year to all you degenerate listeners in Sports Frenzy Land. That's right, the Conquistador is back, baby. Welcome to Sports Frenzy 2.0, your favorite politically incorrect sports commentary. Along with my best bud, my brother from another mother, the maestro, Kevin Crane.
How awesome is this? You're sick of me talking nonstop after 2 weeks of it. Now you get
a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, you get somebody halfway intelligent on the show. So there you go. Yeah, and technically, even though last week's episode was the first of the year, I still recorded it on New Year's Eve. So
this still counts.
Still counts. Happy New Year. Still
my
counts.
First one of the year, baby. All right.
And we're going to have a lot of fun here. And, of course, don't forget to check out the weekend edition. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat, because we have got some amazingly cool stuff, a lot of it revolving around music.
Yes, lots of music news.
So definitely do not want to miss the weekend edition, especially if you are a lover of classic rock like the two of us are. But this is the sports edition.
And what do we start with? The NFL, baby.
And for the last time in the regular season, we will give you our recap of the final week, week 18, and then we will move on to Wild Card Weekend.
Woohoo! Oh.
And then, of course, we got to deal with Black Monday.
Yep.
Not a lot of shocking news that came out of Black Monday. Some people think Gerard Mayo getting fired was... Here's the problem I have.
He was a placeholder all along.
And I heard, yes, Boomer Esiason, on my morning show that I watch, said it very, very eloquently about Gerard Mayo and about Antonio Pierce, who just got fired within the last 24 hours, I believe.
Yeah, from Vegas.
Owners want their coaches, their head coaches, to act like CEOs. They want them to be able to be professional when they get in front of the cameras, when they get in front of the microphones. And no, don't read anything into this. Don't read anything into this, because I'm going to say this about Gerard Mayo and Antonio Pierce.
Because you could put Matt Eberflus in the same vein
Absolutely.
as well.
Or
Mike McDaniel down in Miami.
Right.
Captain Herbalife.
Yeah, so don't read into it. But these two gentlemen, Gerard Mayo and Antonio Pierce, did not present themselves in press conferences like they had control of everything. They sounded more like players than they did coaches. And of course, both of them recently played in the NFL. So you want more of a Kyle Shanahan, an Andy Reid, even a Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin, I was going to say, is very good.
Yeah. So those are the kind of guys these owners are looking for in terms of the style when it comes to putting the team's image out front after a win, after a loss, whenever it might be. And it just so happened that Doug Peterson got fired as well from Jacksonville, which we all saw coming. All three of these coaches finished 4-13. Now that also adds into the Bears, the Saints, the Jets, who had all fired their head coaches previously.
Yep, so you've got about the average number of openings.
Yeah, I thought it was...
You always expect about 6 to 7 openings.
Yeah, I thought it was actually going to be more. But the Colts are going to stick with Shane Steichen, which I don't agree with at all.
That's a bad move. That's somebody who has no control on that team.
Yeah, the Browns are going to stay with Kevin Stefanski. The Giants are staying with Brian Daboll.
Bengals.
Yep.
Standing pat.
Yep. I'll tell you what, though. If I was the Bengals, I would tell Zach Taylor, you start 0-2 again, or 0-3 again, you're out.
Yep, you start that way again, it's your last season.
I don't care if you finished above 500.
You cannot dig yourself that kind of hole every year.
Year in and year out. Because you're going to waste Joe Burrow. And as it is, you're probably going to lose T. Higgins.
Yeah, because of a cheap ownership group.
Now, of course, head coaches are not the only ones that end up on the chopping block on Black Monday. We also had a GM that got fired. Rand Carthon, GM for the Tennessee Titans, is gone.
Not a big surprise.
And that makes that position very appealing, considering the fact they have the number 1 pick now.
Very intriguing.
And some notable coordinators who got fired. Lou Anarumo, who we just talked about, Cincinnati.
He deserved to go. That defense was abysmal.
Yep. And again, even though you're dealing with penny-pinching owners, he had that defense playing a lot better in years past.
Yes, this was a major step backward for that defense.
Yep. Even though Trey Hendrickson led the league in sacks. So you have one great, sounds like the Raiders to me. You have one great player. They have Max Crosby.
Yeah, and then everybody else is bleh.
Yeah. Gus Bradley out as defensive coordinator for Indianapolis. That's got to be because of that piss poor showing against the Giants a couple weeks ago.
That was epically bad.
San Francisco ditches defensive coordinator Nick Sorensen.
Another defense that has been going backwards.
But I think he's a victim
of injuries and lack of
high expectations is what I think. That defense was not like the Bengals.
No. There were some key injuries.
They expect a top 5 defense.
Year in and year out, and that's not always sustainable.
Right, so we'll see. So Nick Sorensen out as the 49ers defensive coordinator, and then I found this one very fascinating. So, final game of the season. Seahawks beat the Rams. Geno Smith hits career marks. Wins. He got 10 wins, which was part of his contract.
$2 million bonus.
And then what, completion percentage?
Highest completion percentage, $2 million bonus.
And then was it yards was the other one,
I
think?
Yardage, another $2 million
So
bonus.
he gets $6 million in incentive bonuses based on the fact that he had a career year for the most part. Now, he didn't in touchdowns.
No.
But what do? They fire their offensive coordinator after 1 year, Ryan Grubb, because they say, but we didn't run the ball well enough.
You didn't hit your... Yeah, he had yardage record for him, but you weren't targeting your top receivers.
No, DK Metcalf had a down year.
If you would have targeted your top receivers, can you imagine what his yardage would have been?
I'm surprised Tyler Lockett even sticks around.
I know. What's the point? He's like the invisible man over there.
Yeah.
He gets nothing.
Oh, we've got Jackson Smith and Jigba now. Oh, great. Whatever. But I found it very interesting that with Kenneth Walker, and then when he went down a couple times this year, they put in Zach Charbonnet, and he was a beast. But they're saying the offense wasn't good enough. That one's a little odd to me.
I don't buy it out in Seattle with that.
That's a little odd to me. And this is the same front office, the same ownership that forced Pete Carroll out. Keep that in mind.
Yep.
So maybe their expectations are a little high.
They're a little
as well.
Skewed.
All right. Looking back at last week. Now we had just a few games on our slate because obviously week 18 there's not that many significant, meaningful games. The few we did have, of course,
It had some playoff ramifications.
Saturday, January the 4th, since the Ravens earlier in the day beat the Browns, the Bengals and the Steelers were playing for something. Bengals were playing to keep their playoff hopes alive, and then the Steelers were actually playing for seeding. Now,
Yeah.
if the Ravens had lost, they would be playing for the division. But they were still trying to play for seeding against the Chargers.
Right. That was just an odd game.
19-17, the Bengals did hang on and win. But
It was very lackluster from both teams.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. And part of it, I think part of it with the Bengals was not having Chase Brown. Now, Khalil Herbert, that trade looks like genius for the Bengals, picking him up from the Bears, because Khalil had a good game here as the backup, substituting for the injured Chase Brown. But yet, Burrow wasn't at his best.
Things were a little off.
T. Higgins got hurt. So, a lot of throws underneath the Gesicki.
Yeah, Gesicki coming out. That's probably this has probably been his best season in how long? Burrow knows how to throw to the tight end. Something they could never figure out how to do in Miami.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he was wasted in Miami.
Absolutely. Mr. Non-existent. Almost like Cole Kmet was with the Bears this year.
But then how all of a sudden does Jonnu Smith become a top 10 tight end?
I don't get it.
But the Bengals did win, so that meant they were still alive going into Sunday's games, January the 5th. Now, what they needed, the Bengals needed the Broncos to lose to the Chiefs, and they needed the Dolphins to lose to the Jets. Now, the Dolphins came through for them.
Yep, the Dolphins needed the Broncos to lose to the Chiefs.
Win, but they had to win as well.
They had to win as well. They were scoreboard watching.
Yes.
You could tell
Absolutely.
as soon as the Broncos beat the Chiefs, they were done.
I don't even think it was. I think it was halftime.
They saw how bad it was and knew there was no way the Chiefs were going to beat the Broncos.
Because, yes, the Chiefs rested their starters, but let's put it this way. There were other quarterbacks throughout the day on Sunday. I'm specifically looking at Joe Milton. Did you see Joe Milton, third-string quarterback for the Patriots? That dude impressed everybody. Because the Bills sat their starters, but Milton came to play.
This was his time to showcase his talent.
That dude has got a cannon for an arm.
He took advantage of his opportunity.
And that's where I'm going. Carson Wentz did not.
Oh, Carson Wentz. There's a reason he got run out of Philadelphia. There's a reason he is no longer a starting quarterback in this league.
But this could have been another redemption story. If he'd looked good in his one shot, his one chance, does he latch on to somebody else as a bridge quarterback?
Yeah, no. He is not a bridge quarterback.
He is not Baker Mayfield. He is not Sam Darnold.
No.
Because the Broncos trounced the Chiefs 38-0. So like you said, the Dolphins obviously saw that score and where that game was headed. And they're like, what the hell's the point?
Yeah, why? Why should we keep playing? You could tell they gave up in the second half.
So the Dolphins lose to the Jets 32-20. Oh, but that's not the end of the storylines in that game.
No, because you have the biggest prima donna piece of garbage wide receiver in the league.
Tyreek Hill. Of course, you kids know, if you've been listening throughout this season, going back to the little incident outside of the stadium in Miami, where he was speeding and he got pulled over.
And copped an attitude with the officers.
Ever since then, I was like, here's the old Tyreek. Here's, like you said, here's the prima donna back again.
Yep. And yes, he had a down year. He didn't hit his 1,000 yards receiving. He didn't hit his double-digit touchdowns. Now he's being a little pissy bitch. I'm walking. I'm done, bruh.
Yeah, I'm out, is what he said. I'm out.
I'm out, bruh. Whatever.
But then, a day later, word comes out that everybody in the front office, all the big wigs met with him. And He didn't ask for a trade. He didn't ask for a trade.
Do you want a malcontent on your team? This is a guy who in the fourth quarter said he was unavailable.
Yep.
Said, I'm done. He just quit.
And of course, your wonderfully eloquent head coach,
Captain Wake and Bake.
Yeah. Where's my vape pen? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to pick on the Dolphins.
No, they need to be picked on.
Dolphins are 8-9 to finish out the year. But yeah, between the head coach now starting to look like he's way in over his head, and Tyreek Hill talking his way out of Miami, you wonder what's going to happen with you got a great running back.
Oh, A-Chain is phenomenal.
You're stuck with Waddle, but maybe if Waddle, just hypothetical here, because we have to run everything. So let's run the Dolphins for a minute. Trade Tyreek Hill.
Get his ass out of town, yes.
Move Waddle up to number 1. Maybe he becomes a different receiver if he's a number 1.
Maybe. Or is he...
Durability is still an issue with him.
Or is he just going to be another Amari Cooper?
Yeah. Serviceable, good, but not great.
Yeah.
But you've got to do something with that team. That team is at a crossroads right now. Yes, of course, you got to keep Tua upright.
And you can't even count on that.
But then on the other side of the field on Sunday, Greg Olson wouldn't let us forget.
Oh, it's all about Aaron Rodgers. It could be his last game.
So you pretty much forgot who the Jets were playing because it was all about Aaron.
Oh, he's got touchdown 500. Oh, he threw 3 more. Oh, isn't it great? Oh, and he got it to his buddy Adams and Lazard and blah, blah.
There it is. We haven't heard that in a while. The horn of disgrace.
Olson, I think you're a phenomenal broadcaster. This was not your finest moment. This was pathetic.
So yes, like Dave just mentioned, Aaron Rodgers got 4 TD passes against the Dolphins, and everybody, again, speculating, is this his final game? Is this his final game with the Jets?
Is he going to retire?
I'm telling you this. There's no way in holy hell he's retiring. Because now, with 503 touchdown passes...
He's, 4 behind Favre?
5.
5 behind Favre?
You know goddamn well
his ego will not rest.
He wants to get past Brett Favre. Then he'll call it quits. So he'll play one more year. Guaranteed. Now, is it's going to be with the Jets? Who knows? I don't know. I love what Rex Ryan said. The country club ends.
Yeah, there
with
is
Aaron
no
Rodgers.
more Rodgers Country Club if I become the new coach.
Yeah. And I know Jets fans are split. You know, they love Rex, but they realize that maybe they need to move forward with somebody else. But listening to Breakfast Ball, our boys Danny Parkins and Craig Carton, they posed the topic. Schlereth asked the two, so what do you guys think? What are the odds that you're both going to be happy with your head coach choices going into the 2025 season? And they both just started cracking up and laughing. Carton being the Jets fan, Danny Parkins being the Bears fan.
Yeah, there is no
I was
hope.
waiting for one of them to say, well, you should make it one of the two. But they were like, neither one of them's going to get it right. Neither one of them's going to get it right.
Neither one, no. Oh, God.
A team that is getting it right. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 10-7. They lock up the NFC South.
With your questionable head coach.
I'm living with him. I'm tolerating him. He actually cracked a joke in the post-game press conference.
Really?
Because, of course, the great Hall of Famer to be, and we'll get to that in a few minutes, Mike Evans. And I'm going to say, I fucking told you so. going way, way back. Who was his quarterback, Dave?
At which point?
In college. I'm sorry, in college.
I do not recall.
That was Johnny Football. Johnny Manziel. And they came out together in the same draft.
And we did have this discussion.
I said, Mike Evans is going to tear it up in the NFL.
Manziel is going to flame out.
Yep.
He never should have won a Heisman. That Heisman should have gone to Evans for making him look good.
But just watching them at Texas A&M,
you knew who the talent was.
You could tell Evans was making Manziel look good.
Yeah.
And he's still doing it to this day. So we talked about the incentives for Geno Smith. Mike Evans had a huge incentive at the end of the game. Now the Bucs' first priority was to win the game to lock up the NFC South. Now, the Falcons choked anyway.
Yeah.
But the Bucs beat the Saints 27-19. They had the ball at the end of the game. Mike Evans needed just a few yards.
5 yards.
To not only get a $3 million incentive, but to tie Jerry Rice all-time 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons receiving. Yep. Baker Mayfield made it a point.
First play when they got it, instead of taking the knee, Mayfield threw him the ball, 9-yard reception. Boom.
Then after the game, Todd Bowles, I'm not the biggest Todd Bowles fan, but he did crack a funny. Somebody asked him, did you guys specifically decide, instead of taking a knee, that you were going to get the ball to Mike to get his 1,000 yards, get him his incentive? And initially, Bowles was doing his usual, well, yeah, we were just trying to win the game. That was the important thing. And it just worked out the way it did. And then he comes out and he says, but I figure Mike owes me about $1 million. I was like, Todd Bowles with a sense of humor. Oh, my God.
Who knew it?
So I was like, maybe he's loosening up a little bit.
Maybe.
You know? And what did I say about a month and a half ago to you? I said,
the Buccaneers were the third best team in the NFC.
And I believe after what we saw in the final game of the regular season Sunday night, the Vikings and the Lions, I believe my prediction is correct. Because I was going to say, okay, the Vikings might be better. I know the Eagles were better when healthy.
Yeah.
I know the Lions are better when healthy. They're both getting there. Anzalone, by the way, coming back for the Lions was a huge boost for them.
Unbelievable, wasn't it?
Oh, my God. But I think the Buccaneers are better than the Vikings.
They're better than the Vikings.
I know goddamn well they're better than the Packers. I think they're better than the Rams. So I'm going to say, again, I fucking told you so. As they're now the number 3 seed. But why are they the number 3 seed? In part because the Rams lost to the Seahawks because they were playing Jimmy Garoppolo, not the starters.
Seeding didn't really matter to them.
Which I find interesting because now they play the loser of this game. Vikings at Lions from Sunday night. So you had the battle for number 1 in the NFC, but the loser drops to number 5.
I know.
And number 4 plays number 5. 14-win team is going to be on the road. And it was going to be either the Buccaneers or it was going to be the Rams. And even though Jaden Daniels scares the hell out of me, I'll take Jaden Daniels over what I was facing, either the Lions or the Vikings.
Oh, yeah, you definitely want to play Washington.
Give me the rookie at home.
Yeah.
But
that's the team you want to be.
Still worries me.
Still don't want to play the Lions or the Vikings.
So again, the Seahawks beat the Rams. Rams did not play their starters. So Geno got his incentives. Rams fall to the 4 seed. Bucks move up to the 3 seed. So now it's all about who are the Rams going to be playing. as the Vikings and the Lions face off, to 14-win teams for the number 1 seed. What a disappointing game this was.
You thought you had something going, a battle for the ages through the first quarter. I mean, it was matching back and forth. Looked like this is going to be a phenomenal game. And then the Vikings forgot what they were doing, and the Lions took over.
The thing that worried me, and I didn't watch the whole game. I watched about the first half, and then I watched the highlights. But from what I could tell, the thing that worries me is Sam Darnold looked like he regressed back, even if it's just for one game, back to the Jets. And when he said in the post-game press conference, "I'm seeing ghosts," he looked skittish.
Yep.
He looked nervous. He overthrew a lot of open guys, especially in the red zone.
Yeah, there was a lot of that the whole game. He couldn't hit anybody.
So we mentioned Anzalone comes back for the defense for the Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs has a monster game. Lions win. Some people are saying the score is not indicative of how close the game was, but the Lions win 31-9.
Yeah.
So they get the bye. They get the number 1 seed. They will get David Montgomery back when they play their first game in the playoffs.
That's going to be huge for them.
But you're stopping the momentum.
But really, do you want to impede what Gibbs is doing?
That's what I'm saying.
It's nice to have the backup to give him a breather, but at this point, you have got to run the hot back.
And Gibbs, there's nobody in the NFL right now better than him. Nobody.
He was running through that Vikings defense like butter. I mean, they have a good defensive front, but Gibbs made them look silly.
Yep. So, 31-9 Lions win. The playoffs are set. And the funny thing about that game, Vikings, the team bought roughly $2 million in tickets for that game. They bought about 1,900 tickets at $1,000 a piece. And it was all above board. Nothing shady going on. This was within their allotment, their rights. So they bought all these Ford Field tickets, hoping to take away some of the home field advantage, turned around, sold the tickets to, staff, players, shareholders for $200 to $300 a piece. So they took a loss.
They took a loss to get their people, their people a chance to go.
And look at the good it did them. Look at the good it did them.
But it was goodwill to the front office staff and the players.
No, I know. No, it's a very cool move. Very cool move. Then before we start giving you our prognostications for Wild Card Weekend, we have to celebrate, dance to the music. One of the greatest Sundays I have experienced in recent memory. Because I had to deal with the fucking Miami Hurricanes and that defense every weekend. And then I had to deal with the Bears and a 10-game losing streak. But I get the Buccaneers winning the NFC South, and I get the goddamn Chicago Bears beating the Packers.
Thank God. Ending an 11-game losing streak to their reviled foe.
So even though it was a 5-12 year, I have hope. Again, I don't know why. But
it was a good thing.
I still think Caleb Williams fine.
led the comeback in the fourth quarter.
And he looks like he's good. Really good.
He's good under the pressure.
Yes. How many games this year did he get the team in position?
To win.
At least if one for clock management from the sidelines. They would have won more like this. Point.
Yep. The kid shows up when it matters. When it's kind of the free-for-all, make things happen. He's brilliant. They don't know how to call plays for him.
They have got to get him.
He
got
needs
to
a
get
fucking
him.
offensive line. He needs blocking.
They've got to get him a head coach, too.
Yeah. He needs more direction. He needs a better offensive coordinator. But it's there. You can see it's there.
All right, Dave, time to have some fun.
We breaking down the 2,700 people that the Bears are interviewing for the head coaching position.
Oh, and by the way, before we leave this, Bears beat the Packers 24-22.
51-yard Cairo Santo field goal.
Bad news for the Packers. Both Jordan Love and Christian Watson hurt. Christian Watson
Done.
torn ACL. Jordan Love should be back.
Yep.
Not quite sure what happened. A funny
Probably
bone.
hit his elbow on a helmet and deadened the arm, and in the cold weather, you know that's really going to be painful. Should be fine.
But don't you dare take anything away from this victory for the Chicago Bears. This was great. This was glorious.
It was much needed.
It reminded me, God help me. I know you were a bigger fan of his than I was. Reminded me of Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith understood.
What it meant to beat the Packers.
Priority number one, beat the Packers. That was the only thing I liked about Lovie Smith. But, yes, I have in my hot little hands here
the
a list.
4,322 names of possible Bears head coaches.
And we're going to do this a lot. In this episode, on the weekend edition, since your Uncle Dave has been away, we're going to get his reaction to all sorts of stuff. And this is going to be number one. As of yesterday, now we're taping here on January the 8th. This list is from, it's Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning the 7th, this list is the latest list I have. Now, these are the ones that they've asked permission for or have already interviewed. Now, I'm going to run them down, and you're going to real quick tell me yes or no. Or you're going to, you can elaborate.
Or I will pull something.
Yes. No particular order. First up, Drew Petzing.
Who?
Arizona Cardinals offensive coordinator.
No.
Next up, Ben Johnson, Detroit Lions
Yes.
offensive coordinator.
That's a yes.
Next up, Aaron Glenn, Detroit Lions defensive coordinator.
I will go yes.
Next up, Anthony Weaver, Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator.
No.
Vance Joseph, Denver Broncos defensive coordinator.
Fence. But
So we're going yes, no, fence. Okay.
I will go no.
So Vance Joseph gets a 2.5.
Yes. No. It's a no.
Shocked that we got this interview. Mike Vrabel,
Yes.
former Tennessee Titans head coach. Joe Brady, Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator.
No.
Thomas Brown, Chicago Bears interim head coach.
No.
Todd Monken,
Who?
Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator.
No.
Mike McCarthy,
Hell to the no.
Dallas Cowboys head coach. It's okay.
He was denied.
Permission was denied. So, although we can still interview him next week,
Right.
unless
They sign him.
right.
Because he's a free agent
Right.
after the 14th.
Brian Flores, Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator.
Interview. I'm still not sold on him.
Oh boy, these last three are just painful. Sorry, spoiling things here a little bit, but the Hardy Party, Arthur Smith.
Oh, fuck no.
Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator.
No way in hell.
Because that offense has been stellar this year.
Oh my God, it was worse than the Bears, even though they won.
And we talked about earlier Antonio Pierce and Gerard Mayo maybe not projecting an image as, the Lord God King, the CEO. Arthur Smith?
No way in hell.
I don't think I'd let Arthur Smith sell me 4 tires.
I
at
wouldn't.
my local Bell Tire. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't buy Girl Scout cookies from his daughter.
And he grew a mustache since when he was head coach with the Falcons. Now he's grown a mustache. So now he's a man.
Yeah, he's trying to take the Matt Eberflus way.
God. Facial hair does not a man make. Okay? Sorry, Dave.
Not everybody can pull it off.
Oh, God. Mike Kafka, New York Giants offensive coordinator.
What in God's name would make you want to even talk to this guy? No.
Aren't we supposed to be, if we're going to interview offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators,
Shouldn't we have from teams with winning records?
or good offenses or good defenses?
Yeah. Ugh.
And then finally, fucking knew this one was coming because he's got something on the McCaskies. His name has been bandied about for a decade. David Shaw, former Stanford head coach.
He hasn't coached in how many years?
A lot. Current Denver Broncos executive.
No.
But they have talked about David Shaw ever since he left. He was talked about when he was at Stanford.
No. No, no, no.
So that's your current list.
Hell, before half those people, I would talk to Pete Carroll. I'd at least bring him in and get his thoughts.
And what? Now we're starting to speculate. People in the media are starting to speculate. Is John Gruden blackballed?
Makes you wonder.
A couple weeks ago, we heard he wanted to get back in. It doesn't seem to be impeding Brian Flores. Everybody wants to interview him. And he had a lawsuit against the NFL. But why is it John Gruden is persona non grata?
Because of his personal rift with Goodell. Goodell is being a little bitch.
Because Chucky is number one on everybody's list. I'll tell you that right now.
He would be.
Any and every team, he's number one.
And why are the Bears talking to so many damn people? That shows me they have no fucking clue what they're doing. 5 people. 5 people is who they should be talking to. And they should already have an idea of the one they should go all in on.
And then the other thing is the rule changes year in and year out in terms, we know the Rooney rule, but the window where you can interview the coordinators who are currently in the playoffs,
Who can you bring in? Who do you have to do through Zoom? Yeah, it's all ridiculous.
That's confusing as hell. All right, one last thing before we get to our picks for Wild Card Weekend. I got to get your opinion on something else. How did you feel about the Eagles sitting Saquon Barkley in Week 18 and denying him the chance to set the single-season rushing record?
Didn't like it.
Now, a lot of people, I'll tell you something that I find fascinating. A lot of people, of course, their initial reaction was, well, he gets to do it in 17 games. If you look at how many carries he's had throughout the year, he's actually on pace. He was under Dickerson.
Yeah.
Now, if he depends on how many carries he had, if he had played.
Right.
In the 17th game.
But you got to.
But it wasn't like he was already above and beyond what Dickerson had. It would have been very equivalent.
Yeah, with the number of carries. That's what you got to look at.
Yeah, even though he had the extra game, he didn't carry the ball anymore.
No.
Than Dickerson did. So it's a very tricky balancing act here. When we scream and we yell and we go, oh, you got an extra game, you had an extra game. Okay, but
look at the number of carries.
And if you go to passing records, look at attempts.
Yep.
All right, kick us off, Dave. Wild Card Weekend, Saturday, January the 11th.
Oh, we have the LA Chargers going down to take on the Houston Texans.
Now,
And
seven of our 8 panelists, sorry, have their picks in. Just keep that in mind.
Yep. Chargers have been playing pretty well of late, and the Texans have sucked. They have been underwhelming down the stretch.
Yeah, and I know I mentioned this on the podcast when you were gone, and it makes me look terrible. That's fine. There's going to be a lot of those instances tonight. Believe me, I got a lot of problems with people. Even though Festivus is over,
It carries
the
on.
airing of grievances is never over here on Sports Frenzy. When Tank Dell got hurt, I understand there's a bond, there's a connection between players on a team like this. But I just didn't think. I thought it was too much. I thought C.J. Stroud crying. It was like he didn't die. He blew out his knee. It happens every week in the NFL. But for him to get so emotional about it.
That almost sucked his will to play.
Yes. And I've heard other people say that as well. Is that he hasn't been focused since then.
But come on. Yes, Dell went down, but you got your number one guy back. And you didn't throw to him.
So now
You had one of the top running backs in the league. You stopped giving him the carries. They stopped blocking for him.
And then, of course, their last game in Week 18 doesn't count because they arrested everybody. So there was no Joe Mixon. There was no C.J. Stroud. So now what are we going to get from the Houston Texans?
They let me down.
There are a lot of things going on this weekend. And a lot of things going outside the world of football, which we'll get to. That could impact the Chargers' mentality.
Yep. Are they worried about their homes with all the wildfires?
There you go. We'll get to that again in a few minutes.
In Texas, they're going to be dealing with snowstorms and ice.
Everything I've heard, chatter, little snippets from press conferences, Harbaugh has got this team loose. He's doing what he does best.
That's what you want in a head coach. He's got his players relaxed. They're focused on the game. He's been there, done that.
I would be remiss if I didn't admit I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried again. Focus. Harbaugh can get them focused. But it's a big task to ask them, given what's going on back home.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
But I think this team...
you rally to give them something positive.
And again, the Texans, along with the Steelers, are the two teams. Vegas odds. Those are the teams at the bottom in terms of the teams predicted to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
The sharps in Vegas know what they're doing.
They do.
They see the same things you and I see when we watch these games. So, it's a 3-point spread. We don't do point spreads, but if I had to, I'd probably still take the Chargers. Chargers 3, I'll still take them.
Yep, I will go with the Chargers as well. 6 of the 7 taking the Chargers. Nick going with the Texans.
Yep, the lone dissenting voice. Then we get to the Steelers, who we just mentioned at the bottom when it comes to odds to win the Super Bowl. And I think they could be arguably the worst.
Yes, offensively, defensively.
The Artie Party has not been working.
No, not at all. And they're going to Baltimore to play the Ravens.
Now, they're going to get hit with massive wind.
Yeah.
So
It's
don't
gonna
expect
come
any
down-
field goals.
No, this is going to come down to the ground game. That goes in favor of the Ravens with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
With the two of them on the ground, there you go. Now, does Pittsburgh counter? Russell Wilson can't run. Do they play Justin Fields?
I've heard speculation. I have heard speculation that that's on the table.
So, given what the weather could be,
yep,
watch out for
and now
that.
the one thing that they have an advantage of, Derrick Henry by far the best running back out there on that field Saturday. But Steelers can alternate between Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. So they will have fresh legs.
Got that going.
Derrick Henry gets worn down. What are you going to do?
You got to rely on Lamar.
And he does not have the best postseason record.
No, he does not.
That being said,
we're all still taking the Ravens.
Yeah, I don't think it's even going to be close.
No. They can get out of the wild card weekend.
Yeah. Last line I saw, Baltimore favored by 9.5.
Oof.
That's a big point spread.
That's a big point spread, especially with the weather they're expecting.
Yep.
All right.
Moving on to Sunday, January the 12th, a triple header.
Broncos going to Orchard Park to take on the Bills. Both teams used to playing in inclement weather.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the Bills at the end of the show.
Yeah. But for all of us, and I can say Mrs. C, her picks aren't due yet, but it is going to be a straight sweep across the board. All 8 of us taking the Bills.
I will say this, though.
It's going to be interesting.
I give the Broncos a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
They've got the edge in coaching.
That's where they do have an advantage.
And I am so fucking tired of people bagging on Sean Payton.
He is a hell of a coach.
He's made some mistakes. He got suspended for a year. We get it. Greg Williams and him and
the whole bounty gate.
Trying to take out Brett Favre. But the man is, I don't care if he's a douchebag in real life. He's a great coach.
Football coach.
And he and Bo Nix seem to have this connection.
Yeah.
That works. Bo Nix won't take shit from him.
Yeah,
they'll give it to each other.
And that's a healthy back and forth. So.
But yeah, up in Orchard Park, Bills across the board.
Then, moving on. The Packers go to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Sorry, not bought into the Packers all season. They have weaknesses across the board. Eagles, one of the top teams all season. You got to go with them at home.
Yeah, the panel right now, all 7 picks that are in.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
I will say this, though. This game has a lot to do with injuries. Jordan Love, does he come back fully healthy from the elbow? Jalen Hurts finally got back to practice today. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith are on the injury report. Now, are they just playing games?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's dinged up at this point of the season.
Yeah.
You can put everybody on the team on the injury report.
But I'm with you. I had faith in Green Bay 1 week, and it bit me in the ass when I thought they'd show up and beat the Vikings. And they shit themselves.
Badly. So.
And Jordan Love has not had a good year.
No.
Then the Sunday night game.
The Commanders at the Buccaneers.
For the Cannons!
Boom!
This will be a fun one, kids. This will be high scoring.
It's going to be a ding-dong-dilly.
The de facto...
A Donnybrook.
The de facto rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels, going into play, Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans, and the difference maker in this game, one, Bucky fucking Irving. Bucky Irving will run all over that mediocre Washington defense, and that doofus Dan Quinn on the sidelines with his backwards baseball cap.
Thinking he's so cool.
I'm actually worried about this game.
I'm
trying to project confidence here.
This is going to be a decent game.
This is a field goal game reflected by the spread. Tampa Bay getting the 3 points.
This is that home field advantage game.
Exactly. I think this will be a push. I think Tampa will win by a field goal.
Yep. So all 7 of the 7 in, 6 taking the Buccaneers. The elder statesman, the lone commander.
God damn, Sam, you bastard! Turning on my Buccaneers like that. Nah, I get it. And then finally, we're going to come back around. We started with a team from L.A., and on Monday night, I hate these fucking Monday night playoff games.
That's so stupid. It's awful.
Monday night, January the 13th, Vikings, presumably going to play at SoFi.
Maybe.
Taking on the Rams.
If it gets too bad with the smoke and everything around there, do they move it to Phoenix?
Phoenix is a possibility. Vegas.
Maybe
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara, you've got options.
Yeah. Now,
but it's the Rams. They don't want to play in the cold of Santa Clara.
Oh, come on. Now you're going a little bit nutsy cuckoo here with the cold. Yeah, it's not like you're putting them up in North Dakota.
Well, it's not like the Vikings play outside either.
This was the toughest game for me to pick. Because, obviously, being on the road, the Vikings' schedule is already disrupted. But now the home team has got other worries and other things on their mind. I think, you mentioned this earlier with the Chargers. I think this comes in.
What do they rally around? See,
the Rams will win this for the city of Los Angeles because of what's going on.
See, I had this picked before everything got so out of control out there.
Well, it could work for them. It could work against them.
Yeah. I got the Vikings on the bounce back.
And I just don't like the way Sam Darnold looked last week.
I think he has a bounce back.
And it's possible he could. He has got a lot of money on the line on this game.
He does. This is his career.
If he does not look good here and they lose this game,
he's out.
He's going from 2 weeks ago where he was looking at well over $100 million to getting maybe...
Or at least a $40 million franchise tag.
Right. Now, if he loses this, 1 year, $20 million deal.
Yep. Monster swing.
Yep. And then the Vikings say, we're okay with J.J. McCarthy. So there you go, kids. All 8 of our panelists'
but we did
picks.
not break down the Vikings-Rams picks. Who took who? You took the Rams, I took the Vikings.
We're split out of the 7 picks we've got. 4 Vikings, 3 Rams. I've got the Rams, so does Doug and Aaron. Vikings for Dave, Sam, Bill, and Nick.
All right.
And then I was going to say, all 8 picks will be posted tomorrow night.
On the Facebook page.
Yep. Now, the final NFL little deal we've got to get through, which I held for a week for your Uncle Dave. Oh, I do want to say, by the way, congratulations to the elder statesman for winning the Plate of Greatness.
Yep. His team stood strong down the stretch, where all of mine fizzled the last month and a half. 6 straight losses.
The Plate of Greatness, of course, is our fantasy football trophy. So Sam beat Nick in the title game. I am so bitter about this. So bitter. Because I outscored everybody the last 2 weeks in the playoffs. And if it wasn't for losing by what? 0.08?
Yep.
To Mrs. C. Not her fault. It's the football guys. I could have had the plate of greatness. I feel like
But
the
alas.
Vikings. I went from 1 to 5.
Yeah, I went from 1 to 4.
Yep. All right, so
Ah.
another project for your Uncle Dave here to wrap up our pro football talk. The Hall of Fame finalists are out. 15 finalists. 5 will be picked. And so because we run everything, or we should run everything, I've picked 5. Your Uncle Dave will pick 5.
Yep.
Now, I will say this right off the bat. Not an impressive class at all.
Overall, no, it's not. There's definitely one standout.
So you go ahead and pick, and I will let you know if I agree.
All right.
I've got the initials of my players written down.
All right. I am going with Jared Allen.
No. 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 No.
Antonio Gates.
Yes, definitely.
That is the one standout.
Should be the
here.
lock. Should be a lock.
Should be the lock. I'll go with Terrell Suggs,
No.
Fred Taylor,
No.
and Adam Vinatieri.
No. No. You been smoking with your coach down in Miami? What are you doing to me? That's terrible. Only one we agree on. Wow.
Yep, there you go.
Now I know one. I will admit.
Hey, Torrey Holt.
I took hold.
That
Greatest
was
show on turf.
borderline.
Greatest show on. There are teams like the '85 Bears where you need to put everybody who was even remotely good on that team in the Hall of Fame. And the greatest show on turf, Torrey Holt, needs to be in.
All right.
And I picked another receiver, Reggie Wayne.
Fuck Reggie Wayne.
Nope, Reggie Wayne needs to be in. If Marvin Harrison gets in, Reggie Wayne
I don't
gets
think
in.
either one of them should be in.
See, you go defense, I go wide receivers. I just mentioned great teams, great dynasty-type teams.
You're going Woodson.
Darren Woodson needs to get in. My man, Jimmy Johnson, picked him, drafted him, 3-time Super Bowl champion. Darren Woodson needs to get in.
Well, there you go.
So that's 4. That's 4. You wanna guess who I picked 5th?
Eli?
Yeah.
Are you fucking stoned? Have you been smoking the wacky weed?
I have been ripping on Eli for
Eli
years
does.
and years
I don't
and
care
years.
that he's got 2 rings. He is not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
He's not, but there's nobody else on that list I would put ahead of him. That's the problem.
Eli. Oh my God, no.
It's all timing. It is all timing.
Oh no.
So yeah, I'm going Eli,
No.
Reggie Wayne, Torrey Holt,
I can see
Antonio Gates, Darren Woodson.
All right.
Those
there
are my
you go.
5. All right, that'll do it for the NFL this week, kids. Now we move on to college football. All right, so now we move on to college football.
And you know where you can find us talking about college football?
No, Dave, where?
This fine podcast can be found on Spotify, Good Pods, Pocket Casts, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
Say, didn't you miss that?
Yes, I did.
Because I cannot do that when you're not here. I just run through it like normal. And of course, that's iHeartRadio, kids. But we all do love Sports Frenzy. So
I have to throw that little homage back to the original cable access days.
Of course. Of course. The good old days. The crystal ball.
The intros.
Yep. All right. Just like with the NFL picks, there was a lot of outside noise going on, specifically with one of the bowl games, but We're going to recap the last handful of bowl games. Some of them we'll discuss. Some we're going to gloss over. Of course, the playoffs are the ones that we really are concerned about. So, last time we talked, kids, I was recording on New Year's Eve, and I had just gone into a rant about, how about Alabama? Proving that they did not belong.
3 lost teams did not deserve to be in the Final 12.
And now a 4-loss team.
Boom.
So then, after that, the rest of the games on New Year's Eve, the one that I think, again, proves the point. The Citrus Bowl. South Carolina was chirping, making noise. The Cocks were making noise.
Yeah, the Cocks went limp.
Illinois beat South Carolina. And again, there's your argument again, out the window.
So how good are these teams from the Southern Conferences?
Yeah, so Alabama, you're not worthy.
You lost to a mediocre Michigan team.
South Carolina, you're not worthy.
You lost to Illinois, 2 Big Ten teams.
And then, of course, that night, we got into the next round of the college football playoffs. Penn State took care of business against Boise State 31-14. Ashton Jaunty, of course, trying. On the pro side, we talked about Saquon Barkley, but he sat.
Yeah.
Now, Jaunty played, but Penn State bottled him up enough.
They focused on stopping him.
He did break 100 yards.
But it was a hard-fought 100.
Yep, 104 rushing yards against the Nittany Lions, but that was still 28 yards short of Barry Sanders' record.
Yep.
And now,
a valiant effort.
There's a legitimate argument to be made there, as opposed to Saquon Barkley. And we talked about how comparable carries with him and Dickerson. Barry Sanders did not have nearly the carries.
No.
And the bowl games stats were not counted back then.
Right.
So Sanders' record technically would have been much higher. That would
have been way higher.
Yeah. But still, now they're talking. Jaunty's going to be a first-round pick.
We'll see.
Chicago Bears.
No, we need a friggin' center.
I want to see what the projections are in terms of, are there going to be some solid offensive linemen
coming out
with that 10th pick for the Bears?
Yeah.
Because I don't want them to pick an offensive lineman.
Just to pick an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I want somebody who can start from day one. I don't want one of these, oh, well, he's got all these athletic attributes. We can turn. No, I don't want the attributes. I want a solid player. Somebody who starts day one, not a project like we have with this dipwad from the Ivy League that we got last year in the second round.
Yeah, Nick Wright doesn't instill so much confidence in you that Ryan Poles is going to make these picks and select the next head coach.
Oh, God. No confidence at all.
All right, so then we move on to New Year's Day. The Peach Bowl. Best game by far of the playoffs. 2 overtime affair. Texas wears down Arizona State 39-31.
Yep. That was a hell of a game.
I'll tell you what, man. If we can get him in the second or third, Scattaboo.
Oh, Scattaboo is something else. That guy is a beast.
Yep. He's going to be a steal.
Yeah, big time.
The Rose Bowl. Very disappointing.
Oregon did not show up.
Nope.
They forgot how to play the game of football. Ohio State destroys them 41-21, and it wasn't even that close.
Nope. That was a disappointing performance.
Yeah. Absolutely pathetic.
And I do believe I said a couple weeks ago, I still believe there are only 2 good head coaches in college football. And I said if Dan Lanning can do something with this Oregon team, I'll say 3. Guess what?
Nope.
I'll still stick with Dabo and Kirby. That's it.
Yep, but Kirby got out-coached. Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl, a day delayed because of the tragedy in New Orleans.
Yep. Thoughts and prayers to everybody in New Orleans early on New Year's Day. 14, I believe, is the official
toll.
Yeah, but many more injured.
Yeah, just not a good situation.
No, a truck plows into a crowd in the French Quarter. Terrible. And then, of course, the FBI comes out initially and says, it's not an act of terrorism.
Oh, wait, yeah, I guess maybe it is with the ISIS flag. Idiots.
This makes you
Stop jumping to conclusions. Investigate.
When is Inauguration Day again?
God.
It can't come soon enough. It can't.
But Notre Dame 23-10 over Georgia. So all 4 teams with the bye lose.
Yes.
So your middle 4 are the teams that advance through.
Yep. Now this is the first year. I don't know what you can take out of that. Everybody, of course, in a reactionary society, complaining, we got to fix everything.
No. Top teams usually get the bye. We've seen it throughout every sport. The top team does not guarantee you're going to move on and advance.
Right.
It happens all the damn time.
In the NFL, you could have a conference where you got a 15-1 division winner, and you got a 8-9 division winner.
And the 8-9 division winner can knock them out.
Yep. So just let it play out.
Let things play out. Eliminate the conference championship, but still things will work out.
And then I think the one other bowl game we want to point out. This is the one guy who has a claim. And this is the guy that you and I thought would be in the Final Four in our preseason predictions. Lane Kiffin. Now, we still agree. 3-loss teams should not have been in. But
he is the one guy who had his team ready to go.
Mississippi torched Duke 52-20 in the Gator Bowl on Thursday, January the 2nd. Now, I'm assuming that the AP still does a poll at the end of the year.
I would imagine they would.
I could see Mississippi jumping up to like 6th or 7th.
Potentially. With a blowout win when you've got some of these others who've had blowout losses.
Yep. But that's going to do it. The great equalizer, as we call it, is pretty much over.
Yep. It did not help us.
No.
Bill continued his run. It's one of those things.
Yep, we call the bowls the great equalizer for our football picks competition. Because usually
it has a major impact on
40 odd games, however many. And we don't follow college football that fiercely, except for a few teams. Miami for me, Notre Dame for you.
And a few here and there
played.
that some of our teams that we've kind of picked up on over the years, like Boise State, Oklahoma State.
Yep. But, like, how are we supposed to know the last bowl game? was the Bahamas Bowl. Buffalo and Liberty. I mean, come on. Now we got it right.
Yep.
You and I did.
Bill got it wrong, but too little too late.
Yep. So before we get to our picks for the college football playoff semifinal games, a couple other little things to discuss. The FCS championship, which, as I told you last month, I did not realize they were still considered Division One.
Yep. Division One is the FBS and the FCS. It's lame.
North Dakota State beats Montana State 35-32.
That was a wild game down the stretch.
That is their 10th title in the last 14 seasons for North Dakota State. That's impressive.
Maybe that's a team that should consider a move up, joining a conference.
There you go. Let's do like soccer. God, I can't believe I said that. Let's do some relegation.
We've seen other teams pop up out of the FCS to join the FBS and have some decent success. So why shouldn't North Dakota State?
Well, UConn, I think, did that. Or
UConn
UMass, one of those two. The shifting landscape is not over yet, though. We've still got things going on out west. The Pac-12 still got to get another football team. At least a football-only school. Yep. So they are recognized as a legitimate conference. But now the Mountain West has done it. They were the other one because,
sanity couldn't prevail with the two of them merging to be the Pac-12.
Yeah.
That would have been too easy. Legitimizing another Power 5 conference.
Yeah, they could have made an argument saying we're Power 5. Because the other four are now doing things behind the scenes.
Yeah, manipulating everything.
And they're trying to put rules in place. We just heard today. Or they're in charge of everything.
Yeah, they now want to take over the basketball tournament. Not cool.
But the Mountain West has now got enough teams in football to be recognized as a legitimate conference. Why? They poached Northern Illinois. Yes, the Mountain West will now have Northern Illinois.
Good God.
Football only, starting in 2026.
Boy, there's a flight.
Hawaii to Northern Illinois. Going to happen every year, one way or the other.
Yep. That is ridiculous.
Because this is going to set up where they can play a full conference schedule every year.
Yeah, this is just insane.
So yeah, Northern Illinois to Hawaii or the other way around. And then I'm just so confused with these records. I am so confused. Cam Ward supposedly has the Division I record for most touchdown passes. But then I see today he does have the Division I record, but not the FBS record. Because he played for Immaculate Word his first year or two, which is an FBS school. Or an FCS school. See? I'm all confused by this crap.
They are going to manipulate everything they possibly can to protect certain individuals.
So all I saw was it's Case Keenum and it's Dylan Gabriel. As in terms of FBS record, Cam Ward doesn't count. But now we've got this kid in D3. Quarterback for North Central University, Luke Lanin, just tied the all-division touchdown pass record with 162. I'm like, come on. What are
This
we
is
doing here?
Stupid. It doesn't matter where you do it. It matters that you did it.
That's what she said.
But in the butt, Bob.
Or that's what you tell your friends. It doesn't matter where we did it, it just matters that we did it. All right.
Okay, Turk.
Lawrence of Arabia. He was an Englishman. He came to fight the Turkish. Hollywood Nights, if you've never seen that movie,
It's
shame
brilliant.
on you. Shame on you.
Absolute brilliance.
Did you come, Turk? Did you come?
Yes, I did. I'm glad I came.
Yeah, Fran Drescher, the current head of the Screen Actors Guild, screaming out, "Did you come? Did you come?"
Oh, God.
So much fun.
So good.
And if you love us talking about movies, don't forget to check out the Weekend Edition.
That's right. Your favorite politically incorrect pop culture extravaganza.
Your Saturday morning hangover cure. All right. 2 games. Semifinal. College football playoff. This brand new monstrosity that we have had to deal with really only one good game so far. Hopefully these semifinal games will be better. We start off on Thursday, January the 9th, with the Orange Bowl. Notre Dame against Penn State.
2 old school powerhouses. Going back in the day.
Do you know how difficult it was for me to deal with this game?
I know.
Oh my God.
Your disdain for Notre Dame and your absolute hatred of Penn State and all they represent.
Pedophile state.
Yes. Penitentiary state.
Good Lord. Good Lord. But when I'm picking a game, I'm picking it based on who I think is going to win. And I even said, if I had known that Cam Ward was only going to play a half in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, I would have changed my pick.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah. We're not revisiting that.
We're not revisiting that.
That will be a half-hour yelling Donnybrook if we go there.
We'll agree to disagree.
But that being said, Notre Dame's defense will be the difference here.
Yeah. That front, the secondary, they're playing pretty solid.
Plus, God, I gotta get this off my chest. Because I watched the Penn State-Boise State game. And Penn State's quarterback, who's getting all this praise, Drew Aller, what a whiny little bitch he is. Every time a play doesn't go Penn State's way,
He wants a flag.
he's yelling at the referees for a flag. I am not rooting for that guy. Maybe I'm rooting for him to have a visit with Jerry Sandusky.
Whoa!
But I'm not rooting for him in a football game. Give me, God help me, Notre Dame.
It's across the board of the 7 picks in. I know it's killing you.
Oh my God. They got the worst offense outside of Jeremiah Love in the history of college football.
They've got mediocre receivers, and they got a quarterback who can't throw 20 yards downfield.
Oh my God, they're going to have
The
to
defense and special teams are incredible.
Right. Exactly. I agree completely. I do. And that defense is fantastic.
Yep.
Even with the injuries they've suffered.
It's been next man up, and they
Yep.
have stood up. Al Golden has that defense.
Oh, who is that? Who is that, Dave? What was that name that came out of your mouth?
Al Golden, your former Hurricanes head coach. Again, some guys are meant to be coordinators and not head coaches.
He made a deal with the devil. He made a deal with the devil. He would be the only guy I would be happy for if Notre Dame would win the national championship. The only person on God's green earth I'd be happy for is Al Golden. Not you, not Jamie, not anybody except Al Golden. Because I got to believe in his heart, his blood is pumping orange and green.
Well, there's green in there.
Friday night, January the 10th, the other semifinal playoff game, the Cotton Bowl, Ohio State and Texas. Now, let me ask you this. How does Texas get a fucking home game?
That I don't understand.
Oh, it's just luck of the draw. It's like if you were going to have the Super Bowl in Miami and the Dolphins happen to get there. Bullshit.
This was rigged.
I don't like this. I don't like this at all, that Texas gets a de facto home game.
It's crap, but I don't see Texas beating Ohio State.
No.
That Ohio State offense is clicking on all cylinders.
What the hell happened to them against Michigan?
I have no idea.
It boggles my mind that this team looks this good. Granted, they had a knockdown drag out with Oregon. I get that. But to lose to Michigan like they did.
With the offense
at the end of the season, no momentum going in to the postseason.
And now they're lighting it up.
Yep. Well, we're not going across the board on this one.
Nope. Nick is taking Texas.
I have not liked Texas all year.
They've got issues. Now, as a Notre Dame fan, if Notre Dame can get by Penn State, I would rather face Texas than Ohio State.
I knew you were going to fucking say that. I knew you were going to say that. Because I'll tell you what, I can already tell you who I'm picking.
Between Notre Dame and Ohio State?
Yep.
I'm taking Ohio State.
But you're right. If Texas somehow
Notre
wins
Dame
that
doesn't
game,
have an offense that can hang with them.
No, if Ohio State does what they've been doing here in the playoffs against Texas, again, in hostile territory,
then it's theirs. It's theirs to lose.
Yep. And we were talking about, a couple months ago, how much we hate Ryan Day.
I can't. I'm still not impressed with him as a coach.
And then the next day, he'll interview with the Bears.
God help us. They're interviewing everybody, so why not?
All right, I'm going to do my badasses now. Let me get them out of the way. I got 3 of them. Because we need some positivity around here.
That's right.
Before we move on to the rest of the sports out there. I'm going to start off praising your guy. Now, I know you had a rough time at the end with your fantasy football team. But you had Jamar Chase.
Yes.
Kudos to Jamar Chase. He is one of my Clint Eastwood badasses of the week for winning the Triple Crown in receiving.
Whoa.
127 receptions, led the NFL. 1,708 yards, led the NFL. 17 touchdown catches, led the NFL.
Kudos to him.
It has been pulled off before, not very often.
It's a rarity.
But it is an exceptional accomplishment.
Well deserved.
Next up, local, a little bit of local flavor. If you kids haven't figured it out by now, we tape the podcast in northern Indiana. And we had a historic basketball performance in high school. On the women's side,
Yes.
South Bend, Washington. Kira Reynolds. I believe she's going to Purdue. I think she's committed.
I think she's committed to Purdue, yes.
Had the first quintuple double in Indiana hoops history. That means double digits, points.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say the 5 major categories.
Points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. Double digits in all of them.
That is impressive as hell.
Now you wondered, when I looked at the final score of the game, I was like, we kind of need a mercy rule. because they beat up on New Prairie 85-12.
Yeah, well, they had the 100-0 win earlier in the season, too. So that is a phenomenal program that they have going there.
But a quintuple double. Very impressive. So Jamar Chase, Kira Reynolds, and Walker Kessler. And you're probably all going, there might be a few of you who know who he is. Walker Kessler. He is a center for the Utah Jazz. Did he do something on the court that was awesome? Nah. I mean, he's an NBA player, doing better than me. But now he's really doing better than me.
Oh, yes, he is.
His girlfriend.
Here she comes, Miss America.
His girlfriend, Abby Stockard, is your new 2025 Miss America. And that to me would be a mic drop moment. Boom.
Boom.
I'm dating Miss America. Boom. I'm done. I'm out. You'll never do better than me. And walk away. Just walk away. That is the ultimate mic drop moment.
Yep.
Right there.
That takes out Paul Skeens dating Olivia Dunn.
Yeah. Yep.
You just won up Skeens there, buddy. Way to go.
So, Jamar Chase, Walker Kessler, Kira Reynolds, my 3 Clint Eastwood badasses of the week. Oh, should we move on to baseball? What little there is.
Why?
Just to give the kids
rich
our
get
weekly
richer and
our weekly update on the few moves. It's very, very slow right now.
the hot stove is cold as ice.
Now the A's are still trying, kind of, sort of
Spending
legitimate.
some money trying to build potential following in Vegas.
So they re-signed their young star Brent Rooker, 5 years, $60 million. The Dodgers actually traded somebody.
What?
Dodgers traded away Gavin Lux to the Reds. Oh, because they signed Korean infielder Hae-Sung Kim. 3 years, $12.5 million. I did not hear about deferred money, though.
No, there's none of that, so that's a positive. How much was the posting fee?
If they get, what's his name, Sasaki, I'm going to be so mad. Because he's the one guy coming in from overseas that's supposed to be really good.
You know he's going to go to the Dodgers with his countrymen. Come on.
Hey, the Cubs have Imanaga and Suzuki.
Why not?
There you go. Michael Lorenzen, who I always thought was a pretty good second-tier pitcher.
Yeah, he's decent.
He goes back to the Royals. Second tour of duty with them. $7 million for 1 year.
Reasonable.
And then I guess this would be the big signing of the week. Although I think it's overpaying. Given he's going to turn 42 this year. San Francisco Giants give $15 million for 1 year to Justin Verlander.
Ugh, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
I don't think that's a good investment.
No, it is not.
Coming off a career worst ERA over 5 with the Astros last year.
Yeah, that was just not a good performance from him.
And of course there is, we're not going to really...
15 mil is a lot for your fifth starter. Sorry, that's
He
what
won't
he
be their
is.
fifth starter. He won't be to start. Now he could eventually drop down to that point.
He is not a top 3 starter at this point in his career.
They'll make him one
He's
to
not,
start the season.
but he's not. You know it, and I know
wouldn't.
it.
I would have been pissed if the Cubs gave him $15 million.
Yeah.
No way. No, I would have rather had Lorenzen for $7, like the Royals did.
Yep.
And then, of course, we'll keep you up to date, but we're not going to get into it now. There is a lawsuit pending, going on right now, as the Padres. There's a family brouhaha.
It's the struggle.
We got the ex-wife and the brothers of the former, now deceased owner taking it to court.
Who's the rightful owner of the Padres?
So,
What did the will say?
See, this is the thing. Anytime we get into this kind of stuff, the legal issues, and we'll have more coming up, but I hate to delve into these too much, because even though I play a lawyer on the podcast, I'm not one in real life. I don't want to speak out of ignorance, because I don't know the ins and outs, like you said. What does the will say?
That's what it comes down to.
But you can always contest the will.
I hate that
Was
stuff.
was the man in his right frame of mind?
When was the last update to it?
See, that's what I'm saying. So, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? All right, now we move on to racing. Didn't have anything last week, so you missed out. You could have taken a week off. Well, you took a week off anyway.
Yeah, so there you go.
Couple little tidbits. We're only a month out. Only a month out from the Clash. And then, of course, the Great American Race.
Yep. The Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium as they're getting that track all set up.
Yep. And I do believe it's already sold out. So,
yeah.
All right, as we organize things here for NASCAR, getting ready to start the 2025 Cup, Xfinity, and Craftsman Truck Series. We've still got, again, another lawsuit. We still got the lawsuit going on.
Yep, it's still out there pending.
Between NASCAR and 2311 and Front Row. But Front Row did get to finalize their purchase of Stewart Haas Racing Charter. That is their third. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So, the number 38 car will be the third Front Row car. Looks like it's going to be driven by Zane Smith. Ooh, I got goosebumps, Dave. Look, I got goosebumps.
Yeah, not me. History on the 38, formerly the M&M's car driven by...
Oh, don't do that to me.
Okay.
Elliott Sadler.
Yes, very good.
No shit.
No shit.
I am not just another pretty face, baby.
Pulled that one out of your ass.
I got it though, didn't I?
You did.
Woo.
Very nice.
Now I'm doing a mic drop. I'm done. Podcast is over. You wish. We haven't even done the dumbasses yet. Come on. Cody Ware will drive Rick Ware Racing's number 51. Big shock.
Yeah, they're...
Yeah, once again, notice the names, kids. Cody Ware.
Ware Racing.
Is driving the Rick Ware Racing number 51.
Daddy bought a team.
And that's a hard to say. Cody Ware, Rick Ware, Rascally Wabbit. Say it 5 times fast.
Killed the Wabbit.
Cody Ware, Rick Ware Racing. Killed the Wabbit, Rascally Wabbit. All right. I don't know why, but I want to say something about the P-54 space modulator. So now going back to what we just talked about with Front Row, getting their third charter. It is now locked in official. The new charter agreement, you can only have 3 chartered teams, except
If you're grandfathered in.
which would be, of course, Hendrick and Gibbs. The horn of disgrace. Then finally, we get some wild different drivers who want to get in on the Daytona 500, of course.
There's always an outlier or two.
One of those Indy car punks. Nah, actually, he's tried this before. But Helio Castroneves will drive the number 91, the Project 91 car for Trackhouse Racing at Daytona.
I wouldn't mind seeing if he can make it.
Because who is it? The only other two, AJ Foyt and Mario Andretti, to win both Indy 500 Daytona.
And Daytona. Yep.
All right, we move on to the NBA. Moving on to the NBA. And tonight, game's probably 2/3 of the way over. One of the few games I was actually intrigued about. The Oklahoma City Thunder, currently riding a 15-game winning streak, 30-5 in the West, versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, riding a 10-game win streak, 31-4 in the East.
Potential finals matchup, maybe?
I just can't believe Cleveland's as good. OKC, I get.
Cleveland has been slowly building.
And the thing is with basketball, even though we're not huge NBA fans, it's all about chemistry. You got to get the right combination of guys, the right head coach.
Oh, no defense in this one, kids. Your live update with 9:50 to go in the fourth. Cleveland 106, the Thunder 105.
I knew this was going to be a good game. I should have, for once in my life, I should have actually DVR'd an NBA game. My Orlando Magic, God bless them. God, they're plucky. They got some plucky spirit.
They do, don't they?
With all the injuries. 22-16. They are treading water.
They're respectable.
That's fourth in the Eastern Conference. And the best news of all, within the next couple days, we will see the return of one Paulo Banchero. Now it's time to take the Magic seriously. When we get these guys back, all these injured guys back.
Yep, they just have to make the playoffs and be healthy going in.
Drama down in South Beach.
Dun dun.
Been kind of talking about this for the last few weeks.
What does Jimmy Buckets want to do?
Well, the Heat have suspended Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Butler suspended for 7 games for conduct detrimental to the team.
I can see them doing that. More teams should do that to the malcontents.
And that will cost him over $2 million. 2.35 million to be exact. So, of course, he will force a trade to the team of his choice. And even though people don't like it when we say this, it's time to stop letting the inmates run the asylum.
Yep. So you don't want to be here? We'll send you to who's going to give us the best offer.
Yeah, not to your little hand-picked group of 3 or 4 top contenders.
Yeah. Nope, you're going to go for who's going to give us the most. And you'll like it, mister.
You'll get next to nothing and like it. Now you're still making $50 million, so you're really not getting nothing.
No.
Then finally, the Chicago Bulls are going to retire Derrick Rose's number 1 jersey next season. See, I'm surprised by your reaction. I thought you would have been a little bit more enthusiastic.
Why? What's he really done?
See, that's what I think, too.
Yeah, he started off great, but then he got injured and didn't do anything.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because
He's not. He was on his way to becoming a superstar. He was never a superstar. This is rewarding unmet expectations.
Well, he was Rookie of the Year and an MVP. Youngest
Yeah.
MVP ever.
Great. So what? Did he
I'm with you.
run his
I'm with
entire
you.
career in Chicago? No.
I am with you.
He put up more points elsewhere than he did in Chicago. I don't see why. Yes, he's a Chicago kid. I still don't see why they're doing it.
I think it's a reflection on the fact that if you take away the Michael Jordan years, that franchise is pretty bad.
Yeah, they're pathetic.
Yeah. It's like the Bears. You take away the 85 Bears, absolutely abysmal franchise.
Yep. And gee, like everything else that comes down to Chicago sports, it's piss poor ownership.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another Reinsdorf-led team.
Oh, speaking of which, you want to talk about the Blackhawks?
Oh, their abysmal 13-25-2 record, 28 points, still dead last.
In the entire NHL.
Yes. Even though over the last 10 they're 4-6. But still, they are not good. Coaching change did not help.
And they're playing the Avs tonight?
Yeah.
The Colorado Avalanche. And then they did not fare well in the Winter Classic.
No, they did not.
They lost 6-2 to the Blues. And I figured for sure you'd blame the Cubs because they played at Wrigley Field.
No, they're just not a good team who had no business playing in the Winter Classic.
And then what? They kept the ice there for the Big Ten, right? The Big Ten had a doubleheader there, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for the kids, the college kids.
Sure, they get to play.
Speaking of the college kids, real quick, college basketball, which of course will take over here in a couple months. Hurricanes suck, 4-10. Notre Dame mediocre. The men, 7-7. Tennessee was number 1 in the latest AP poll, but last night they got lit up. Number 8 Florida destroyed them. I think I saw this was the worst loss for a number 1 team in decades.
Oof.
73-43.
Ouch. See, again, NCAA men, you do not want to be the number 1 ranked team. It is a curse.
Oh, and by the way, guess who's crept back into the top 10?
UConn.
If it wasn't for that disastrous run with the Maui Invitational.
Yeah, where they lost everything.
Yeah. And on the women's side, UCLA, still number 1. I believe Notre Dame's still number 3.
So I did not get to talk to you after Miami's coach Larinaga stepped down.
Yeah. Could see it coming a mile away with the way they were playing. But the interesting thing is why he quit. Couldn't deal with NIL.
There you go.
Couldn't deal with NIL. He took the way, same way Saban did.
He can't do it. Done.
I can't. No, he couldn't. He came out and said, "I can't deal with the new environment. It's not the way I coach. It's not the way I run things." So
there you go.
Yep. So can't say it shocks me.
No, you saw at the beginning of it last season.
Yep.
The tail end of last season when they fell off.
Yeah, they collapsed. They did. And again, it doesn't shock me a bit. And I love the man for building that program up to what he did, getting us to the Final Four.
Yeah. But in this day and age.
Yep. And I give him credit for saying, I don't care if it's middle of the season, I'm out effective immediately.
Yeah.
Because I can't deal with this anymore. Yeah, amazing how a scumbag like Rick Pitino
Well, this is his
continues
environment.
continues to find success. Yeah,
Yeah, he doesn't have to fly under the radar anymore.
now he can be out and out sleazeball.
Yeah.
I know. One more hockey tidbit that I forgot. Congratulations to the U.S. USA. U.S. wins their second straight World Junior Hockey Championship. So once again, kudos to the kids,
Yep.
to the young men. Golf.
Oh, let's go indoors.
Okay. I gotta confess to you.
You watched it?
I watched half an hour.
Was it any good?
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
Let's hit into the screen.
Yeah. What we're talking about, of course, is last night's debut, which would have been January the 7th, of the TGL, Tomorrow's Golf League. Ooh.
Where we actually don't go on a course. What fun is that?
It's all indoors in a facility down in Florida. Sponsored partially by Tiger Woods and our favorite golfer, Rory McIlroy.
Our two favorites.
And I have a little bit of something for him, Mr. McIlroy, at the end of the show. But yeah, I watched it for about half an hour. It's weird. It's weird. Now, the technology involved at the end of every hole is ridiculous. Because you hit into the screen.
Right.
But then when you get within a certain point to the green, like if you're in a sand trap outside the green,
yeah,
or within chipping distance, then you actually play on a green. But what the thing is, there's only one green.
Do they manipulate?
They've got aerodynamic stuff underneath the green.
So the hydraulics can adjust.
Yes.
Everything.
So the green changes for every hole.
That's cool. That I like.
Yeah, they showed a picture of what it looked like without the surface.
So if you're within like 50 yards or 25 yards or something.
You got to be pretty close. And they've got two different points otherwise. Where if you're teeing off, you hit from this area. And if you're within, I think, 180 yards, then you move up closer to the screen and you put the ball right on the grass instead of on a tee. Or in the sand, or in the rough.
Okay. So it's whatever.
But, but there's some other stuff that, there's lava.
Oh, come on!
Yeah, they've got holes with lava.
Come on! That's just dumb.
So it's like you're playing a video game. Even though you technically are playing a video game, but it's like...
Video game.
Over the top stuff.
It's like playing Hot Shots.
Yeah, there you go. Hot Shots is a perfect example. Where you've got a lot of weird stuff going on that you would never deal with in regular golf.
Ugh.
So there's some good, some bad. I do like the fact the small crowd.
Yeah.
Because it's like a small arena. But they boo the shit out of these golfers if they hit a bad shot. And we're talking some of the biggest names in the world.
Nice.
And they will boo them mercilessly for a bad shot.
I love it. That I could get into.
That being said, I don't know. Now, in real golf news, the first event of the 2025 Tour season, the Century. Hideki Matsuyama, we know that man.
Yep.
Sets a 72-hole PGA Tour record, 35 under.
Whoa!
Yep.
What was it, like playing putt-putt or what?
I don't know. And then, of course, we don't have Scotty Scheffler because he cut up his hand.
Right.
So.
Wow.
Hideki Matsuyama's off to a good start.
Whew.
Final topic before we move on to...
You know,
What?
one of the cool things that they need to have an award for, I don't know if they do, overall season under.
Oh, I don't know if they do that. Yeah.
But just track where you are under par the entire season and reward who overall has the lowest under for the entire run.
That would be interesting. But as you and I have talked about over the years...
But nobody plays every
That's what I was going to say. That's a criticism you and I have had over the years. Tiger Woods was the biggest perpetrator
of not playing every tournament.
Right. So I don't know how you would do that.
But still, it would be a cool stat to track.
I'm sure somebody's got it.
But you never hear anything about it.
Because, again, I don't think they play the same number of tournaments.
Well, then you take the majors.
See, that's what they should do. They should do like we do. They should have like a penafrenzy for the majors. Right?
Right. There you go.
The
all around
frenzy.
Low score.
Yeah. We gotta
do everything.
I know. Including this bullshit with Venu Sports. Let me just say right now.
Not happy, Bob. Not happy.
Fuck Fubo.
You
we're the
motherfuckers.
We're the ones that are going to stand up for
you
the common man.
Sellouts.
Yeah, Fubo sues Disney and Fox, everybody involved in Venu Sports, saying it's not fair. It's a monopoly. And they're saying, we're gonna look out for the consumer. We're trying to make sure prices don't skyrocket, and you have choices.
Yeah, so what do? You sell out literally. You let the rat buy you.
Yep, Fubo TV settled the lawsuit. Why? Because they now get to merge with Hulu plus live TV. Yes, the rat.
Oh, God, that pisses me off.
So now here, coming soon, Venu Sports. It is now all systems go.
Not gonna do it.
Well, the only thing I'll say is I'll look into it for the simple reason that YouTube TV can fuck themselves. With all the price increases over the past few years, there's collusion going on.
Oh, yeah. Funny how everybody's prices seem to be going to the same point.
Yeah,
where's the benefit for any consumer?
Yep, I looked at Hulu plus live TV. I looked at DirecTV Stream. All the same price. All $83 a month. Which is now where YouTube TV is.
Ridiculous.
Just another example of how we're getting fucked. We get fucked in the drive-thru.
We get fucked by your TV services.
We get fucked at the concerts. All right. Moments of silence. It's not an excuse. Found out after the fact, but could not have been a fun time for Kirby Smart to be coaching at the Sugar Bowl. Not only did we have the terrorist attack, but we found out that
his dad had taken a fall.
And complications from that fall, Kirby's father, Sonny Smart, passed away.
Yep. Was it the day after the game?
I believe so, yeah.
So thoughts and prayers to the Smart family.
And then Brian Matus. Brian Matus, number one, 37 years old. No cause of death has been disclosed. Here's the interesting thing. Pitched his entire major league career with the Baltimore Orioles, except for one game. You want to take a guess who he pitched for?
The Yankees?
He pitched 3 innings in one game in 2016 for the Chicago Cubs.
Wow.
So he has a ring. Had a ring.
Wow.
I'm sorry. He was a World Series champion for the fact that
Wow.
he pitched one game, 3 innings for the Cubs in that magical year, 2016.
Wow. Got Al McNeil, former head coach for the Montreal Canadiens, leading them to a Stanley Cup. Former defenseman, played for the Maple Leafs, the Canadiens, the Blackhawks, Rangers, and Penguins. Passed away at 89.
So is it that time? The kids have been
Yep.
waiting to hear you say it.
It's time to pivot.
Because I
Pivot.
can't do that either. I can't do I Heart Sports Frenzy, and I can't do the pivot like you. So we go from death and bleakness to abject stupidity.
Because we gotta find out which of these unfortunate contestants will be this week's Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week.
All right, got 6. We're going to start off going back to what we just talked about a few minutes ago, which would be the TGL, tomorrow's golf league. As I mentioned, bankrolled partially by Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy. Now, if you listen to this podcast regularly, you know
The disdain we have for both.
this particular week, though, we're going to single out Rory McIlroy. So, the TGL is teams. Okay?
Right.
So there are 5 teams. This says 6, but I only see 5. So, 4 guys on each team. All right?
Representing different golf clubs.
They're all golf.
Ish.
There's the Bay, there's New York.
Whatever
LA.
little divisions they have.
Now, I don't know how they decided this, but it seems awfully, awfully convenient that Rory McIlroy's team happens to feature 4 golfers in the world top 20, where
Oh.
nobody else even comes close.
Gee, isn't that convenient?
And you want to hear the worst part? Tiger Woods' team sucks balls. Let me just give you an example. Tiger Woods is going to play for the Jupiter Links Golf Club. The best. Sorry, Tiger, you're not the best. He's actually, they've got it here. He's ranked 1,129th in the world.
Oof.
But the best player on his team is Tom Kim, who is world number 23. Everybody on Rory's team is better than Tom Kim.
Woof.
Boston Common is Rory's team. Rory, 3rd in the world. Hideki Matsuyama, 5th in the world. Keegan Bradley, 12th in the world. Adam Scott, 19th in the world. Tigers, Tom Kim, 23. Max Homa, 40. Kevin Kisner, 828.
Oh!
And Tiger, 1129. The closest is probably Los Angeles. Colin Morikawa, 4. Tommy Fleetwood, 9. Sahith Theegala, 13th. Justin Rose, 49th. But isn't it funny how Rory's team is stacked
Gee,
in a league that he helps pay for?
that's convenient, and gee, I didn't hear any live golfers participating in this.
No, Nope, they still haven't found that piece yet, have they?
Rory's still a little bitch monkey.
I like that bitch monkey. Yeah. Yep, he is.
Or no, bitch rat.
Well, for this week, he's
Dumbass.
a potential dumbass. Next up, Josh Allen. Now, normally I would not have any issues with Josh Allen. But what he did in Week 18 pisses me off.
I do not like this.
Just so he could keep his consecutive start streak alive. Bills have nothing to play for.
No.
They're locked in the AFC as a number 2 seed. But he comes out,
One play.
hands the ball off, walks off the field.
I hate that shit.
Don't play at all.
No.
Don't play at all.
Be done.
Or play
the first series.
Play the first half. But one snap.
No, that does not count as a consecutive start streak.
No,
I'm sorry.
I don't like that. I think that's a little bit of a bitch move. And it's also a dumbass move.
Yes, it is.
All right. I'm going to do something different here. I know we're not a visual podcast. I don't understand that. I hate that. Why do you want to watch two people talking? I've never understood. Just listen to it like you would on the radio. But, inevitably...
Maybe we should go to Twitch.
Nobody wants to see these two faces on a TV screen, okay? Nobody.
Don't feed the ego.
So we have video stuff, visual stuff. So I'm going to give you a heads up. You can look this up, and we'll come back to it. But just as a heads up, look up Kim Mulkey.
Oh my God!
Did you see it?
That was the
outfit?
dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Then I don't have to do it then. I can just describe it. Since you've seen it. You've seen it.
Let's wear a basketball hoop on our outfit.
Yes. I was just preparing Dave in case he hadn't seen it yet. On January the 5th, Kim Mulkey, LSU's women's head coach.
God. She wears some stupid fucking outfits to begin with.
But this was,
This is...
It was like a sweater with a big basketball in the front, but then the hoop was encircled her entire body with the net hanging down like some kind of bizarre skirt. Right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Could you take a little pride in... Could you be professional?
No, she's not.
She's a dumbass.
Usually she's got a bird or some shit sitting on her shoulder.
You guys need to look this up over the next couple minutes before we get to our final voting. All right. Another mention involving the Buffalo Bills, but not about the Bills. Somebody they were playing. Your friend and mine, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers fined $11,000 for a stupid, idiotic, late hit.
The hit out of bounds that he got flagged for. Yeah.
He got nailed for over $11,000. And I got to put him on it just for that.
Because we got to put him on because it's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. And then let's stick with the New York Jets.
Sure, why not?
This could be it. This could be the one for the week. This is another visual one. I'm sorry. But I can explain this at least, and it'll make sense. I can't explain Kim Mulkey's. You got to look at Kim Mulkey's outfit.
God.
So the Jets were playing the Dolphins. And then, of course, they did it's final game of the year. Final home game at MetLife. So they bring out the Jets flag with all these people holding the Jets flag. Like
Yeah.
Dozens of people holding the edge, bringing the big banner out. It's
Right.
like a third the size of the football field. It's huge, right? They brought it out upside down. So these dozens and dozens of people
Oh my
are
God.
parading out into the middle of the field at MetLife to celebrate the final Jets game of the year.
And it's
The logo
Goes
is
facing
facing
the field.
down. But the way it's sewn in, you could see the back of the logo.
But it's
Yeah. It's backwards because Jets
oh
is
my
facing
God.
the field. And finally, I mentioned earlier, I don't understand these rules, these records in college. You got D1 FCS, D1 FBS, D2, D3. Well, supposedly Dylan Gabriel is now co-owner of the record for most FBS career touchdown passes, tied with Case Keenum. But Dylan Gabriel sounds a little bit like your coach down in Miami. Let's put it that way.
A partaker of the herb.
Asked in a interview how he feels about outdoor football versus indoor football,
Dude.
Dylan Gabriel proceeds to go on a rant saying that all football games, man, we don't want the bad weather. We should play them all in great weather or indoors. Weather shouldn't be a factor in football. And then, in fact, he went on to say, which lends credence to the fact that he probably lives the herbal life. They said, if we could do it, man, I think every college football game should be played in Hawaii.
Jesus. What an idiot.
So there you go, kids. Dylan
Oh.
Gabriel, Aaron Rodgers, the New York Jets, Kim Mulkey, Josh Allen, Rory McIlroy. Your 6 nominees for the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week.
You have to see the outfit. I gotta go with Kim.
Yeah, I apologize, but these visuals for Kim Mulkey,
Oh my God.
and then for the Jets bringing out their banner upside down. So you'll go Mulkey, I'll go with the Jets.
There we go. 1A, 1B.
Yeah, again, I'm sorry they're visual.
But look them up.
Get out there and look at them. You will understand why they win the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week award. Now again, we're done here, but we're not done.
Saturday morning, baby. Your hangover cure.
We're going to take a break here, and then we're going to roll on through and do the weekend edition for you. And
Movies,
we have got
music,
a lot
streaming,
of rock and
books.
roll. Yeah, lots of books, lots of rock and roll coming this Saturday morning for you. So you better get over that hangover.
Make sure you got the coffee pot set. Get the eggs and bacon ready.
We're going to talk about the debut of WWE on Netflix. Your Uncle Dave is going to chime in on the Golden Globe nominees. I'm going to force him to. Or actually, Golden Globe winners. Sorry, the winners.
Do you know how... It's been 30 plus years since I've watched an award show.
Yeah, well, I don't watch them anymore either, but you and I watch a ton of movies.
We do.
And we know a lot about movies.
We know what's good and we know what's shit.
And I just always like to compare and contrast
How
our sensibilities
versus the insanity of society.
Yes.
Or the critics,
Yes.
shall we say.
Yes. So we're going to do that for you this weekend as well. It's going to be fun. Trust me. Your Uncle Dave is back.
It's always fun.
Your Uncle Dave is back. How could it not be fun? So, he is a conquistador, Dave Height.
He's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
And until the weekend edition, and if for some strange, bizarre reason you don't want to listen, and you want to come back here in a week for sports,
We got you covered.
But until then, say goodnight to the kids, Dave.
Good night to the kids, Dave.